Speaking about it. When it comes between you two. I have a. Surely. Steer about things. Still got 2 minutes looking at that.
Being the bell.
Yes.
Fine.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Bob Congdon, pronouns he and him. A couple of months ago, Mary Beth and I went to a little coffee house on Whitney Avenue called Canteen. They occasionally have live music there. There's a local singer-songwriter like Liz McNichol who sang this song, and by the second verse, everybody in the room was singing along. It's very easy to learn. We're going to teach it to you this morning. We invite you to sing. Each time through, only one word changes. So we will give you that word with that next verse. There are a few more than what's in the order of service. So heads up. The song was written by Sabrina Partridge, a singer-songwriter out in Minnesota. And you'll hear, it's quite timely. We will sing through these times, oh, we will sing through these times, and soon enough we'll be singing on the other side. Hope. Who could have imagined? Who could have imagined? Who could have imagined such as these? We will hope through these times, oh, we will hope through these times, and soon enough
We'll be hoping on the other side. Learn. Times and soon enough, we'll be learning on the other side. Grieve. Destiny, will be free on the other side. Love. Through these times, oh, we will love. Through these times, and soon enough, we'll be loving on the other side. Sing with us. Sing. Who could have imagined? We will stay through these times, all we will see. Through these times and soon enough, we'll be singing on the other side. And soon enough, we'll be singing on the other side.
Well, thank you very much to the folk singing group for that lovely song to start us off. Thank you so much. Good morning and welcome on this last glorious day of November. I say glorious because it's the only one we're going to have this year, so we'll enjoy it. My name is David Jones and my pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm a member of the worship committee and I'll be your worship associate this morning. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are in your life's journey, you are welcome here. Welcome to this live and live streaming service of the Unitarian Society of New Haven. We are a diverse, multi-generational faith community that inspires lives of compassion and generosity, nurtures spiritual growth, cultivates transformative connections, and creates a more just world. This is a congregation that believes Black Lives Matter. We believe that every person has the right to affirm their own gender identity and expression. We believe that all people are inherently worthy, and we believe in using democratic processes, both within our congregation and in society at large. If you're joining us for the first time, we're so glad you chose to spend this time with us. The email address of the Connections team is membership@usnh.org, and you can visit usnh.org to find out more about us. Be sure and join us for coffee in the social hall through the doors at the back there after the service. Now let us take a few moments to greet one another, especially folks you do not know. Morning, Bill. Okay, folks. Resume your seats so we can hear some really exciting announcements we have for today. I know you're going to want to not miss any of these. So, first Adult RE Discussion Circle is today at noon in room 209. Next Sunday, December 7th, will be soup lunch, the re-gifting sale, and Sundays at 4. A very busy day. Please bring some soup. We will need some soup and or bread for the soup Sunday. And also, for any of these things, see the order of service in the newsletter for more details, because I'm giving you the thin, skinny version here. The memorial service of Susan Godchall is Friday, December 12th at 1 p.m. here. The Christmas Eve service at 5:30 p.m. on December 24th. We still need pickup orchestra members, and you can see Linda Pollock. Everybody knows Linda Pollock, right? If you are interested, it requires no, as I understand it, musical talent or training necessarily. To be in our pickup orchestra, we have lots of clanging and banging things for folks that are not that talented like myself. The Ministerial Search Committee will be holding a talkback session today from 11:45 to 1 in the sanctuary here after the service. And then finally, the Waverly Christmas Party is here December 20th for the 32nd straight year. Whew, that is nice. Very good. A table will be set up in the social hall with Waverly volunteers for donations. And, you know, it can either be, of course, cash, but I think they're also looking for things like gloves and mittens and scarves and things. So you can talk with the Waverly volunteers about that. Now let us take a relaxing breath. And let us worship together.
Good morning. Love it. All right. My name is Reverend Stephen Kendrick. My pronouns are he and him, and I welcome all of you to the Unitarian Society of New Haven. Liz was telling me that she heard a lovely tradition that's developing all over the country, and we're kind of doing it today, which is a woman reported finishing up her Halloween candy, heating up her Thanksgiving leftovers, and listening to Christmas music. So that's kind of where we all are. We hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving, but in some sense, Thanksgiving never ends. We Americans did not invent Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. It's a very old idea. The ancient Greeks had a goddess, Demeter, and the Ceres, the harvestee, the Romans, they all had their Thanksgiving banquets. Today, the Dutch celebrate the hay harvest, the Germans Oktoberfest, the French the wheat harvest, the Pueblo Indians the green corn dance, and in China, the harvest moon makes revelers merry with bright lanterns with mooncakes. Thanksgiving was never invented by anyone because everyone everywhere celebrates it, acknowledges it, and feels it. So it's impossible to say where Thanksgiving begins, and it is surely impossible to say where it will ever end. So I asked David to light our chalice with the spirit that Thanksgiving is not a religious service, it's a feast. And it's more than a feast. It is a state of mind. And Thanksgiving is more than a state of mind. It is an attitude of the heart. So we hope, again, that everyone had a lovely Thanksgiving. And it's really good to be together. And in that spirit, we selected this song, 126, Come Thou Font of Every Blessing. It's beautiful. I ask you to rise as you're willing and able. If you'd like to come forward, and if you have a sorrow in your heart, to place a stone or shell in the water, or if you'd like to celebrate a joy with all of us, to light one of our votive candles. Font of Every Blessing, 126. I'm the font of every blessing. Streams of mercy never ceasing. All for sons of loudest praise. God's perfection is always with joy. Teach us ever to be faithful. May we still thy goodness fruit. I'm the font of every vision. Now is you. When we all serve one another, then our heaven has begun. From thou font of inspiration, turning to lift our gloom and desperation, show the brightness of this day. Heaven's way, so sing, yeah. With thine aid, O font of justice, and Jonathan?
Losing everything. Good morning. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. I had a very restful one. I think I slept most of Thanksgiving Day. My name is Jonathan. I am your ministerial intern. I go by the pronouns of he and them. So for the story of all ages today, I wrestled with the title. It's an old parable, and I had to contact a couple of people that I know in the disability field to find out whether I was able to title it the correct title or not. And we went through various translations and things like that. And we came right back to where it was. I think my friend said, Jonathan, this parable is 3,000 years old. I think you're okay with calling it The Wise Blind Man and the Elephant. So here we go. There were wise men in a village in India, and they were all blind. And there was an elephant in town, and they were all called out to come and find out what this huge thing was in their town square. So these blind men, who had no vision, obviously, went out and used the senses that they knew how. They used their hands to help understand what this large elephant thing was in their village. Out of curiosity, they said, we must inspect and know it by touch, which we are capable. The first wise man, whose hand landed on the trunk, said, this being is like a thick snake. For another one whose hand reached its ear, it seemed like a fan. As for another person whose hand was upon his leg, he said, this is like a pillar, it's like a tree trunk. The blind man who placed his hand upon its side said, it's a wall. Another who felt its tail described it as a rope.
The last felt its tusk, stating the elephant is that which is hard, smooth, and like a spear. The wise men debated for days, each arguing, thinking their friends were a bit all ridiculous, as they knew what they felt. They were all correct, as they described the parts that they felt. But until they discussed it and debated it and came to a conclusion together, they wouldn't understand what they were all feeling. They were all feeling all parts of this elephant. This parable has many interpretations, as there are parts of an elephant. In Hindu tradition, reality is one, though wise men speak of it variously. In Buddhism, the story is an example of the limits of individual perception. In Sufism, Rumi does not present a resolution to the conflict in his version, but states, "The eye of the sea is one thing and the foam another. Let the foam go and the gaze with the eye of the sea. Day and night foam flecks are flung from the sea. Oh, amazing, you behold the foam, but not the sea. We are like boats dashing together. Our eyes are darkened, yet we are in clear water." In Jainism, the parable argues that immature people deny various aspects of the truth. In old Japanese culture, it is used to show that those who are not wise have difficulty understanding the story of a wise man. In medicine, it's used to describe that doctors sometimes treat a symptom and not the whole disease. The parable has been used to illustrate a range of truths and fallacies broadly. The parable implies that one subjective experience can be true. The list goes on and on and on. How I propose us to look at it today is how we see each other. Do any of the adults here remember when you were a child seeing your teacher in a grocery store or in the hardware store for the first time? They were out of place. That was wrong. You don't belong there. You belong in classroom. I don't know what you are, right? I remember that. Mrs. Mish in Price Right. It's like, why is she here? Anyway, out of place. And we are all like that elephant in very many ways. We all have many different parts, very many different hats that we wear. I too am like this elephant. You only get to know me from your experience here. I'm also a brother. I'm a student. I'm a counselor. I'm a son. I'm a friend. I'm a dog dad. I'm a very silly singer in the gay men's chorus. I'm a person who makes mistakes. I'm a person who laughs and cries. I'm a person who wishes you all well and a person who sometimes is jealous. We cannot know everyone as we are many people in many roles in life. My message to you is that who you are is welcome here. All the parts of you, the happy, the sad, the silly, the serious, and here especially in this Unitarian Universalist place. What you believe in, if you believe in God or a spirit, or if you base your belief in science and nature, all welcome. We agree that we are all welcome here, all together, all supporting each other, all agreeing that we respect each other. And here we can only expand our love for this community by respecting and loving each other for our differences. So for future safety, don't approach an elephant if you see it in the wild. Not a good thing. But respect each other. Respect that we all belong, that we all have a space, that we all have a place here. Amen. Yes, it's covenant time.
Covenant. Covenant lies at the center of how Unitarian Universalists gather in community. We are united not by a particular set of beliefs, but by the promises we make about how we will be together, how we will treat each other, and how we will seek to mend relationships when we inevitably fall short of our aspirations. Each week, we recite together a brief version of our covenant. I encourage you to read the full covenant on our website. While the following words express our intentions in writing, our covenant lives and breathes in our actions. Please join me now in reciting the words that appear in your order of service or in the chat on the live stream. We covenant together to create and nurture a culture of respect and kindness, and to engage in the spiritual and everyday practice of loving more generously. To this end, we will strive to be open, value differences, listen deeply, use kind language, speak our truths, work with conflict, seek humor and joy.
So if you're willing, please enter into a posture in which you meditate, in which you reflect, in which you pray. This morning we're gathered together after a large feast, some with family, some with friends, some alone, some with food, some without. We are all gathered, all the parts of us. The sad parts, the happy parts, the silly parts, all of us here together, all of us containers of thoughts and feelings of which we are thinking of in this moment, right here, right now. Let's honor those feelings and thoughts in some silence as we reflect, as we bring them, as we wrestle with them, and as hopefully we can resolve them. Let's take a moment. We are thankful for this space and this place, that we can wrestle with what's going on inside, that we can honor those to our right, to our left, in front of us and in back of us, all as a community, all knowing we're going through all different things. And that's okay. And sometimes that's not okay. But we're here together. That's what binds us. May the Creator, the Divine, help us to help each other in these times for our sadness, our happiness, our joy, our silliness, and to continue on. Amen. At this time, we are entering into a time of offering. We thank you for all that you give to this community, all that you give to one another, so we can continue to serve each other. Please make your checks out to USNH or refer to your program for how to donate to our organization. Thank you.
One of the great singers of the 20th century was Paul Robeson. He was an activist as well. His voice, when people encountered it, shook people, moved them. Paul Robeson's actually in our hymnal twice. For unison reading 689, Paul Robeson writes, "Sorrow will one day turn to joy, and all that breaks the heart and oppresses the soul will one day give place to peace and understanding, and everyone will be free." Gwendolyn Brooks, poet of the South Side of Chicago, and the first African American to win the Pulitzer Prize for Literature in 1947, once heard Paul Robeson, and she wrote this poem, and you may hear in the last 6 lines why I used it as my Thanksgiving grace. That time, we all heard it, cool and clear, cutting across the hot grit of the day, the major voice, the adult voice, warning in music words, devout and large, that we are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. And now a song by Pete Seeger, a Unitarian Universalist.
And feel free to sing along.
Precious friend, you will be there, singing in harmony.
So I'm told that 82 million people were on the move this week. 82 million people. Basically, 1 in 5 Americans was traveling somewhere for Thanksgiving. It's an impressive number. But of course, it also reveals just how restless Americans really are, because many of us are that far away from our place of origin. And if we have an ancestral call to head home for the harvest feast, it shows how far we have all gone. 1 in 7 Americans, at least until the housing market locked up, 1 in 7 Americans move every 5 years. We really are a restless people. We've always been, from the very beginning. And I was one of those people on that Thanksgiving road this weekend. Liz and I were invited to join some nice friends on the Cape, and after some thinking about it, we decided we really wanted to do that, and it was unbelievable, because we were about 20 minutes from where the dissenting separatists landed about 20 miles north of us in Provincetown. Found the Cape. They'd been restless to leave England. They'd been restless to leave behind their place of exile in Holland and on to the New World, and they didn't even like the Cape and moved on to Plymouth. Restless. And that's why we call them the Pilgrims. They called themselves the Pilgrims. They had a sense of being wanderers because of their need to understand some great spiritual goal, that they wanted to be free. They had a spiritual wonder in their hearts, and they were absolutely prepared to pay any price to find it. And they were restless in their hearts, and they were restless in every part of their being. And then the people beyond, generation after generation, massively moved across the continent so quickly, it takes your breath away. And we still remain spiritual, restless seekers. When a typical American moves, 40% of the time, they change whatever denomination they had been in previously. When asked, has your sense of being religious changed in your lifetime? 82% of Americans said yes. You know what the biggest change is of this restless spiritual seekers? How many of them are beginning to identify themselves in the category of none of the above. In 2007, 16% of Americans identified as none. It's over 30% today. Over 30%. We are absolutely restless, and so are Unitarian Universalists. Very few of us were raised in this faith. There is a United Nations of spiritual seekers in front of me, people that have been everywhere and were raised in different places and have found their way here this morning. And in the 1940s, we were once asked why we were not a denomination as such. And the congregational leaders in Boston decided, well, we're not a denomination. We are a movement. And movements, by their nature, are restless. They're moving. They're moving on. They're confronting the future. So in some that weird way, we are still pilgrims. One of the most poignant ideas in the spiritual realm on this idea of being restless, I discovered a long time ago in the Confessions of Augustine. Now, Augustine was a bit of a reprobate and heathen, and it took him a long, long, long time. He kept saying, "Lord, save me, but not yet." And his mother, Monica, was dying. She had already converted to Christianity, and she was desperate to save her son, who just didn't seem to want to be saved. And today, Augustine's Confessions strike one of the first notes of modernity in world history, because he writes his autobiography in such a keenly intimate, personal way that all future memoirs really stem from his bracing honesty and willingness to share his heart and his story. And one of the most poignant parts of the Confessions is when he goes to Monica's deathbed, and he's with her in the last week of her life. And he describes one day sitting with her in silence, and both of them look out the same window. And Augustine describes that they both fell into a silent ecstasy, their minds moving together. He writes, "Longing for wisdom, we touched upon it momentarily in one complete glimpse of our hearts." We very rarely ever get this kind of reunion. I don't care how many Thanksgivings you go to. This was a special moment. This was a powerful moment that shook Augustine to the core. And in his Confessions, in this construction of a modern soul, this episode strikes why it's modern. Because he says, "I want to understand why I have such a restless heart. Why can I never be still? Why do I search? Why can my understanding ever be calm and centered?" And he decided, sitting by his mother's deathbed, he said, "You have made us for thyself, and you have made our hearts to be restless until it finds rest in you." I don't know what your theology is. You may be very uncomfortable with God language. So if so, feel free in the next 15 minutes to translate. Go ahead and be restless. You're part of a movement, not a denomination. So if you want to say the still center of what is, great. If you want to say peace, great. If you want to say spirit of love, fine. If you want to say the divine, that's great. I'm not going to play word games this morning, but there is always something about our hearts wanting to travel through restlessness into a place of calm, into a place where we feel at home, at last. We all understand, at least I have come to understand, that the spiritual leaders I most treasure have been prophetic. They have not necessarily been meditators so much as troublemakers. World history has not really been made by mystics, although I respect and treasure mysticism. It's written by people that have been prophetic, people that never rest, because they see the world as not what they would wish it to be, that people's humanity is often abridged, and that we too often hurt one another. So I like people that try to change the world. The relationship of Martin Luther King, he was a spiritual seeker, but he also had to deal with the political realm, the civic realm, and we know that. Gandhi was once asked about the intersection of politics and religion, and he said, people that feel that politics should not be in religion do not know anything about what religion actually is. But the best quote, the one I want to leave you with today, I hope you'll take with you. It's kind of a Thanksgiving leftover for you. It's from the great Unitarian Universalist minister A. Paul Davies. You may never have heard of him, but as I've said from this pulpit, when he spoke from his pulpit at All Souls Church in Washington, D.C. after the Second World War, the Washington Post would always have a little paragraph on the front page of what he talked about. And he stood up against the crazy anti-communism of the late Eisenhower era, and it mattered and his voice mattered. Liz's dad actually went to hear him preach and was moved. And this is what Paul Davies said. When someone asks, "Where now is thy God?" we can answer that the sacred is where it always was. In the struggle, in the pain of our hearts, in the growings of our mind, in the sharpening edge of conscience, in the welling up of courage, in the purpose we cannot forsake and never will. You want to know where that restlessness comes from? It's because we will not leave well enough alone. And we can't. We want to know where the true center lies. And it may not be a place of ultimate peacefulness. As Paul Davies said, if you want to know where the divine is, it's where it always was. And he said it in 3 words: in the struggle. And if that's where the divine is, and if you're going to go there, then it's really best that we go together. And that's how you live history. And that's why that poem that Gwendolyn Brooks wrote, that I read early in the service, matters so much. Because in this Thanksgiving week, if you really want to know what this is ultimately all about, reflect upon those very simple yet, I find, striking words. We are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. If there are better words written by an American poet, I don't know what they are. So that's the religious quest, to find one another, to serve one another, to understand that we are each other's harvest. So we are restless, and we are right to be restless. Our hearts are restless until it rests in you. And what is the you that Augustine's talking about? It's what A. Paul Davies was talking about, too. It isn't a place of ultimate calmness so much as it is where the whirlwind is. It's where conscience is born. It's where justice and mercy are served. It's where we are reminded of what this quest ultimately is. To find each other and to find the divine, to be integral to our being, that generative energy that has created us, that energy at the very heart of things. Dr. Rebecca Parker, who teaches at our divinity school at Starr King in California, said, inside a stone, there's a vibrating dance of activity, And all beings are actively events in process, receiving and being affected in the vast network of all existence. And if a rock is vibrating, you are too. That is why we are restless, because we are absolutely creatures of transformation and transition. We are restless until we find ourselves in the center, in the divine's own restless struggle to love. God is in the struggle. And the struggle is what's at the heart of things. I'm not looking for nirvana so much as I'm looking for decency. I'm not looking for heaven so much as I'm looking for the possibility of sharing the feast of life with one another, fairly, equitably, with mercy and justice. We are made restless to encounter the center of everything that asks us to make a difference. You and I cannot make ourselves, because we did not create ourselves. We cannot totally fix the world because we did not make the world. We have, however, encountered the world and find ourselves here, to our amazement and our wonder. So it isn't for us to somehow create all that is good, but it is ours to become part of the struggle to find and wend our way home. And none of us completely have the energy, or the wisdom, or the time, or the ability to restructure this world we did not make. But we can resolve to place ourselves just where we need to be. And that's in the struggle. That's where our restless hearts ask us to be. That's where we're being invited to go deeper and deeper into that center. That we can answer that the sacred is where it always was, in the pain of our heart, in the growing clearness of our minds, and in the sharpening edge of conscience, and the welling up of courage and a purpose that we can undertake and will. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hymn 277, When We Wend Homeward. 277, please rise as you are willing and able. Please remain standing, and as we say the words in your order of service, as I invite David to come forward and move our flame into your hearts and to the wider world. Let's say together, carry forth this chalice flame, its illumination into our daily lives, its sustaining warmth into our relationships, the light of reason shining beyond these walls. May we carry the fire of hope in our hearts this day and in the week to come. And now may peace, which passes all understanding, keep your hearts and minds in the knowledge of love. And may this peace be yours in this holiday season to come. And go in peace. And re-gift. Amen. Thank you, David. We did it. Another one. Yeah. Another one down. Thank you, Jonathan. Hi, Bob.
So,
Howdy.
howdy. I love that idea of being in the whirlwind rather than
What?
being in the whirlwind instead
know.
of a calm center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we're a movement.
So